So if you're like me, you recently started developing and scanning your own film at home, but now you have to convert your negative to a positive and you don't know how. There's a program called Negative Lab Pro that quickly and easily converts your negatives, and it works through Lightroom, but it does cost $99. So if you're a broke college student like me and you don't have the $100 to spend right now, you can also convert your negatives in Photoshop. Alright, so I'm now in Photoshop, and everything we're going to be doing here is with adjustment layers. So that way it's non-destructive editing, and if you easily want to go back and change something, you can do that. So first thing I'm going to do is crop into the picture here so you don't see the borders. I usually like to scan with the borders, but I'm cropping in so it doesn't mess up the white balance by trying to compensate for the black around it. So first adjustment is a levels layer. So you're going to grab this little gray slider here and slide it all the way to the right. And then you're going to grab the white one and slide it all the way to the left. So you're just going to flip them basically. And then this little number here, I'm just going to change it to 1.5. This is Portrait 400. That's just the number that I use for this. If I shoot like a darker image, won't go as high as 1.5. But you just kind of want to play around with it and figure out kind of how bright or dark you want it to be. Obviously you can go back and change it. And then we're going to do another levels layer. So this is for the white balance. So you're going to grab this little middle eyedropper tool, and that is for the gray point. And then you're just going to try and find a gray point in your image. Obviously the better you get with this, the more you can tell if you pick a good spot or not. See how like the sky is kind of like giving a pinkish magenta tint. Obviously, if I had the chance, I wouldn't pick a spot that has it, but I'm going to have to color correct it to get rid of that tint. And then from here, you're just going to grab this little gray point slider here while holding down Option. As you can see, you start dragging it. You're going to keep going until you see like details show up. So just going to go right on the edge where it's just still white and just before the detail starts. And then that looks good there. And then we're going to add a curves layer. Just going to do an S curve to give it some contrast here. And then lighten it up a little bit here. And then I'm just going to quickly go back into the layer below it where we did the white balance and just drag this white slider up more to give me a brighter exposure. I usually like to, lighten them up a good bit. So whatever you think looks best. And then from here, I'm just gonna crop the image correctly. So I'm gonna straighten this. And sometimes I will leave the borders on if I like it. Landscapes, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I think this one will look good with the borders. So we're just gonna do a nice little crop here. Alright, so that's just a basic crop. I'll probably have to straighten it up a little bit later, but I can do that at the end. So then after that, we're gonna color correct it. So we're gonna go to the eyedropper tool here, and then I'm also gonna pick a levels layer, and then I'm gonna find my black points. So again, grab the slider, hold Option, and then you're gonna keep dragging until you see a black point in the image. That's where your darkest spot is, and it's down here. So that's gonna do the shadow first, and then for highlights, it's the same thing. Grab this, hold Option, and I'm just the sky. It's always the sky is usually your brightest point, but you just want to find like kind of where it starts, and then you can easily just delete this layer because that is unnecessary. And then we're gonna do another curves. And then as you can see here, you get this little info thing when you use the eyedroppers. So basically we're trying to match all these numbers. So I usually just go to the middle one and try to match those. So as you can see, this red number is a lot higher than all the others. So we're going to click on this, and then with the little arrows, once you have it clicked, you're just going to keep going one way or another until it goes down. So now these two numbers are the same, so now blue needs to be the same. This one we have to go up, so I'm just pressing up on my keyboard. And then now that the shadows are fine, we're going to go to the highlights, and then the middle number, we're going to use the red, so we're going to start with blue because that's the highest one. And we're just gonna bring this way down to match the others. So there we go. And then we're just gonna bring red back up. And then as you can see, as you change one a lot, the other ones change. So you kind of have to keep playing with it until you get them correct. Alright, so now that I have all of them matched up, again, if they're off by one number, that's fine, but I usually just, like to be extra perfect with that, so that's that. And then if you still don't like the colors, you can go into color balance and change it a little bit. Like I usually just go in the midtones, so I'm just gonna, bring the red down a little bit. Bring the green up because this is kind of a forest picture, and then the yellow. So obviously you don't have to do this, but I just like doing this sometimes. Sometimes the color correct does work perfectly, but still, if I want to change it a little bit, we're going to bring the greens down a little bit. But yeah, I just like to do this kind of extra just in case. And then once that's done, we're going to do some little retouching. So I go all the way into 1, and then as you can see, since I scan these, I get some scratches and stuff, and little like dust spots, so I zoom into 100%, and then just with the spot remover tool, I will go in and kind of get rid of these little marks on here just to make it look perfect. It's usually really visible in the sky, so that's kind of where I'll start. And then I'll also just kind of, clean up the edges if I do use the border, just so it looks good. Alright, so that looks good. And then from there, we're just going to add a little layer to merge them all together. And by doing that, I just did Command Option Shift E. And then that just combines them all. So if I wanted to go back, I would have to turn this off and then do that kind of merge all again. But I just do this to make sure, all the layers are together. And then it's not just, it's just a lot condenser kind of. So yeah, that is how I edit the pictures in Photoshop. So I'm just going to do a couple more super quick again just to kind of run through, but the more you do this, the more you'll kind of get the hang of it and have it down. Alright, so another image here. Again, we're going to do crop in first, and then we're going to start balancing this out. So again, gray and then white, you switch them. And then again, whichever you think works best for the number. I just go 1.5 for Portrait 400. That's just kind of what I do. And then the white balance here, pick your little middle point for the grays. And then this one, there's not really, there's not really a great gray point in here. So I just kind of, start clicking around. This looks good. It's kind of blue, kind of yellow tint, so that should be fine. And then again, you're going to hold Option and then move this little gray point one until you see some detail start to show up. So then you just go at the very end. And then we're going to do the S curve on your curved layer to add contrast. And then, this is definitely very blue. And then I just go back to the levels and then brighten this up to how bright I want it to be. And then I just like stuff being bright. So that's just me. And then we're gonna do the crop real quick. Does not have to be perfect the first go around, and you can easily kind of, fix it. If you don't have to do the borders either. Like I mentioned, I just like having the option of the borders. I might get rid of it in this one. No, I think it looks good with the borders. Okay, and then after this, we're gonna do the color correct. So back to the eyedropper tool and the levels. Again, you're gonna hold Option and keep going until a black point appears in the image. So it's gonna be this tree. And then for the sky, it's gonna be the sky, but it takes a little bit of while because there's not much sky in this one because of how foggy it is. And then we're gonna do another curves layer. This one you're gonna go to switch them. You're gonna go in here through RGB, clicking it, and then we're gonna do. I just start with the shadows. It doesn't really matter if you start shadows or highlights. I just do the shadow one first because it's on this side. And then we're gonna do red. This is gonna go up. So yeah, like I mentioned, I just kind of make them in the middle. Like whichever number is the middle one, that's the one I'll go to. So for this one, it's we can stay in red because we gotta go up. And then it doesn't matter what numbers you choose either. So that's kind of the good point. The nice part about this is it's very simple and easy to color correct. Like you're just matching numbers, and once you get the hang of it, it makes a lot of sense. Alright, so they are all matched up now, and then again, if you want to do the color balance, to change some of the midtones, you can. I just do it a little bit, and so it's subtle. If you want to go one way or the other, sometimes, like I mentioned, the color balance could be off. And then you could just use this to fix it. But for the most part, the color balance works pretty well, so you won't have to do a whole lot of fixing there. And then again, just a blank new layer to get rid of the scratches and dust that kind of appear on my images. You can obviously tell which is dust or like a scratch. Like I don't even know. Like this happens for a lot of my images, and I use the airbrush on it, and it's like don't know where this dust comes. I'm pretty sure it's from developing and drying because these are some old scans, and I've kind of been better with taking them down quicker when I dry to get less dust. So that's probably why, but it's easy to get rid of, and it's fine. You're not hurting your file or at all. Obviously, I can just fix this with the stamp brush. Just stamp it and go over it, but I'm not going to really bother too much with that right now. I don't know what happened here. I think it was like a development. Sometimes it's your film too. Sometimes you can get, that's how you crop in to the border. Yeah, I might just crop in the border there. But yeah, just clean up a lot of dust. That's why I zoom into 100 so you can see it. And like if you can see it at 100, then you might want to get rid of it. But obviously, depending on how people are viewing this, probably won't be able to see the dust unless they're zooming in all the way. But I still do it just to get rid of it and make sure, because I just want my image, to be the best that it can be. Alright, so we have everything, and again, we're just going to do a little merge layer with Command Option Shift E, and then it just brings all of your adjustments together. And then again, like I mentioned, if you want to go back and change something, let's say like I try and change, we'll do this one. Like if I try and change this, as you can see, no difference is being made. But if I take this off, then you can see a difference is being made. So yeah, just take that in mind. Then you have to get rid of this layer and then merge them again. Alright, so this is the last image I'm going to do here. I already did crop it. I strained it towards the fence more. So as you can see, my border is all messed up. So if you do want to keep the borders in, make sure, trying to keep the image as straight as possible. But if you really do want the borders and you were crooked, you can obviously just edit it. So like you grab the little border, copy that, and then just paste it over with it straightened. I'm not going to do that right now because I'm too lazy to do that right now. I'm kidding. I just don't really see the need to do it right now. Let's see. This looks like this looks like a good gray point. So this is kind of like a good gray point to kind of go. Oh, need to do this. So yeah, this is a good gray point. Kind of blue, kind of yellow. So yeah, that makes a good gray point. But obviously we're gonna color correct anyway, so we don't really have to worry about the gray point as much if you weren't color correcting. But since it's so easy and simple, you definitely should just color correct it. So bring the exposure back up. And then color correcting again. This is kind of all how you want the image to look. And if you remember, Like it was a blue, overcast day, so obviously the colors are gonna, be different than if it was a nighttime or anything else. So if you have like kind of remembrance of what the days, you can just take a picture on your phone if you can't remember what the day looked like and kind of just get those to match. Um, that'd be helpful. This green is too high. So we're just gonna go here, you just click on the little box at the end, and then I'm just going to the right to bring it down, and then I'm just matching it with red. And then I just like to do the shadows completely first, and then I'll go to the highlights. That way I'm not just switching colors, then just switching between highlights and shadows. Actually blue is way too high. So click this, and I'm literally just pressing down on the keyboard, and I'm gonna get it to match the green here. So 193. There we are. And then red, click this, and then we're going to the left on the keyboard to raise the number. And then these got a little different at the bottom when you go too high. So now we're going to the right. That brought it down. Blue, we're just gonna go straight up. And see, they keep changing on you. They just want to keep making you work for it. Red. There we go. So yeah, this looks close. This is obviously why I do the color balance again. There we go. There we go. So obviously, if you remember what the day looks like, that makes that easier. What are you gonna crop? Yeah. Again, this is just really crooked and messed up. And then what I do last is the retouching. Obviously, if you're gonna go back into adjustments, you're gonna want to do the retouching earlier, and then the clone stamp tool does, no, what is this? This is just a spot healing brush. This does a pretty good job going over stuff as well. Like I just did in part on the chain fence, and the fence still looks fine. This one's actually not that dusty. I can't tell. Sometimes you can't tell. It's like a really busy place if there's that is definitely something. I'm gonna zoom in even more. Oh yeah, that is definitely something. So I'm gonna bring my brush down a lot to make sure that I don't take out more than what I need. The fence is gonna be pretty good still. And then if I need to, I could do the clone stamp, but this is gonna be fine. I don't even know what this is. So we're gonna just make this smaller, and then we're gonna do this little part right here. Nope, that's not right. Here we go. Yep, there we go. See, looks. Oh yeah, I got rid of. Oh, yeah, there we go. I got rid of most of it, and it looks fine. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Like this is a little bit harder to do retouching like this with the film because obviously it's not a digital file. But it doesn't have to be perfect. But yeah, like that, you can't really tell that much, especially when you do this. But I could still see it, and I'm a perfectionist kind of with my images, like I mentioned. So yeah, again, Command Option Shift E, and then that just does the merge together. And then yeah, so that's kind of how you edit edit film photos in Photoshop, and like you can just see the before and after. So it's not too hard to get it to get to look like it's supposed to, but kind of when you're looking at this, you're like, how the hell am I supposed to make it look normal? But obviously it's possible in Photoshop. It's a Photoshop great tool. And yeah, just if you have Photoshop and you don't have Negative Lab Pro, just do it in Photoshop. Alright, so that is how you convert your film negatives to positives in Photoshop. At some point, I would suggest getting Negative Lab Pro because it is easier and more precise, and it was built exactly for converting negatives, unlike Photoshop. And hopefully soon I will be getting Negative Lab Pro, but I still wanted to make this video just to help out anyone who needs it.